A warm welcome to each one of you to the biology online class. Today we'll be starting the next chapter, a new chapter, that is tissues. Before going to the chapter, I would like to tell you a few things. That is, this chapter is a very important chapter. There are nearly 8 practicals from this chapter. And as and when I request all of you to take down the points as and when you attend the class. And these points which you take down should be written at the back of the notebook. You know my procedure. As you attend the class, take down the points at the back of the notebook. You need not keep the notebook upside down. Keep it in the same way as you write. And from the back, write the name of the chapter, take down all the points. If any slides are shown, take down the definitions or anything that is written on the slide in the notebook at the back. In front, systematically complete all the question answers questions which are given after each topic and at the end of the chapter. Because here in tissue chapter, each and every topic is important. You cannot leave anything telling that it is unimportant. Because there are practicals, diagrams, there are many diagrams in this chapter. So all these diagrams should be neatly drawn in the notebook. From the diagram which I am giving in the slide or which I am drawing on the board. Keep this in mind till the end of this chapter. Because this is a chapter with full of diagrams. All the tissue diagrams, whether it is plant tissues or animal tissues, you have to draw the diagrams. And many tissues, plant tissues and animal tissues are therefore practical also, which you will have to draw in the record book. At present, many of you had asked me whether you should write it in the record book, experiments. For time being, you need not buy the record book and you need not start writing in the record book because instructions should be given to start, because till last year you didn't have record book. So certain things should be followed while writing in the record. So that we will start only when after few days. At present, need not write in the record book. Now we will come to the class. Last chapter we had discussed about the structural and functional unit of life, that is the cell. We discussed about unicellular organism and multicellular organism. In unicellular organism, all the basic life processes were carried out by the single cell. In multicellular organisms, these life processes were carried out by different tissues, organs, organ system, etc. There was division of labor. In this chapter, tissues, we will be discussing about plant tissues and animal tissues. First half of the chapter deals with plant tissues. And the second half of the chapter deals with animal tissues. Are plant tissues and animal tissues the same? Definitely not. You know, plants are sedentary. They cannot move from one place to another. They are fixed in a place. Whereas animals are able to move from one place to another. Since plants are not able to move from one place to another, they need protection. They must stand erect, they should stand straight, and there should be tissues to support them. And these supportive tissues are usually dead cells. In animals, it is not so. They can move from one place to another in search of food. When they have unfavorable conditions, they can move from one place to another. So usually animals move in search of food and other things. In plants, another difference is that in plants, growth is restricted to certain areas in plant body. Certain cells in the plant body have the ability to divide. Certain cells, after a stage, they stop dividing. But in animals, it is not so. The growth is almost uniform. There is no demarcation of dividing cells and non-dividing cells. So these are some of the differences between plant tissues and animal tissues. So first we will start with plant tissues. I've told you the first half of the chapter deals with plant tissues. Plant tissues can be generally divided into two types. The first one is meristematic tissues. Plant tissues are generally of two types. First one is meristematic tissues. These meristematic tissues are tissues which have the ability or which are capable of dividing. Clear? But these meristematic tissues you don't see throughout the plant body. They are seen only in certain places in the plant body. That we will discuss next. So tissues, plant tissues can be generally divided into two. First one is meristematic tissue. What is the specialty of meristematic tissue? They have the ability to divide. They are capable of dividing. Once this meristematic tissues stop dividing, the meristematic cells, once they start dividing, new cells are formed. The older cells will get matured and they stop dividing. They attain a proper shape and structure. Once they stop dividing, we call them as permanent tissues. Permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues are the tissues that have the ability to divide, which are capable of dividing. Once these cells lose their capacity to divide, once they stop dividing, we call them as permanent tissues. So can permanent tissues divide? No. The process by which they stop dividing and attain a proper shape and structure is termed as differentiation. One more question. What is differentiation? The process by which the cells attain a proper shape and structure and stop dividing. They are called as, the process is called as differentiation. Once they stop dividing, once they lose the ability to divide, we call them as permanent tissues. This permanent tissue is of two types. Cells or the tissues which cannot divide are of two types. They are simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Clear? Simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue is made up of one type of cells. I have already told you what are tissues. Tissues are group of cells of similar shape and structure and it does a small set of function. Whereas, so this simple tissues, there are simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues are made up of one type of cells. We will understand clearly when we learn each type of tissue separately. Whereas complex permanent tissue is made up of more than one type of cells. It's a one more question. What are simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues? Simple permanent tissues are tissues that are made up of one type of cells. Whereas complex permanent tissues are tissues that are made up of more than one type of cells. Next, simple permanent tissue is again divided into three. There are three types of simple permanent tissues, that is parenchyma. All these terms are new to you. So my request is please learn the terms thoroughly and also the spellings. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. See the spelling? No H, okay? Three types of simple permanent tissues are parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. All this I will show you in the slide. So even if the board is not clear, you may look into the slide and write all the things clearly into your notebook. Okay? So simple permanent tissue is of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Once again, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Complex permanent tissue is of two types. They are xylem and phloem. These terms are familiar to you. Xylem and phloem. Once again, plant tissues can be generally divided into two: meristematic and permanent. Meristematic tissues meristematic tissue consists of cells which have the ability to divide, which are capable of dividing. Once the meristematic cells mature and stop dividing, or when they lose their capacity to divide, we call them as permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are of two types: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue is made up of one type of cells, whereas complex permanent tissue is made up of more than one type of cells. Simple permanent tissue is of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Complex permanent tissue is of two types: xylem and phloem. This is the outline classification of plant tissues. This can be asked for 2 marks. Draw a neat schematic diagram showing the outline classification of plant tissues. So by seeing this outline classification, we can clearly understand what is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is a simple permanent tissue. What is xylem? Xylem is a complex permanent tissue. Why is xylem tissue a complex permanent tissue? Because xylem tissue is in turn made up of 4 different types of cells. I told you what is a complex tissue. What is a complex tissue? Complex tissues are tissues which are made up of more than one type of cells. Yeah? Next we will be discussing each tissue separately. Now I have given you an outline. Just at one glance, you will be able to understand what are the different types of plant tissues. So this is what we will be learning in the first half of the chapter under plant tissues. Now you would have got an idea what is the content of the first half of the chapter. We will be learning each one separately. Simple meristematic tissue we will be learning separately. Then parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, xylem and phloem. Hope it is clear now. Shall we go to the next topic? Yes, we will go to meristematic tissues. Today, as you finish this lesson, after attending the class, immediately read it once again and without looking, just draw the outline classification in your rough notebook. So this will get registered properly in your brain. The first tissue we will be discussing is meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue. I have already told you meristematic tissue is made up of cells which are capable of dividing. These meristems or meristematic cells are not seen in the whole plant body. They are seen only at certain places in the plant body. So based on the location or on basis of the location, meristematic tissue is of 3 types. That is apical meristem, second one intercalary meristem, and third lateral meristem. On what basis are these meristems divided? On the basis of their location. Based on where they are present in the plant body, meristematic tissue is of 3 types: apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Now we will see. Just imagine this is the tip of the plant. And just taken a part of the plant body. This is the apex of the plant. Tip of the plant. The cells, the meristematic cells which are present at the tip of the plant, apex of the plant is called, suppose I am using a color chalk. The meristems which are present in the apex of the plant is called as apical meristem. Apical meristem. Or I mark it this side, it will be better. The meristem which is present at the tip of the plant is called as apical meristem. So here these cells, the cells which are present here will continuously divide and help in the growth of the plant, increasing the height of the plant. Same meristem will be present in the root tip also. So apical meristems are present in the shoot tip. Shoot means upper part of the plant, above the soil. Shoot tip and at the root tip. So apical meristem helps to increase the height of the plant. It helps in the growth of the plant. Next is intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, suppose a new bud or a leaf is arising. I drawn a rough figure. A leaf or a bud is arising. Base of the leaf or in between the node, the meristems may be present. Base of the leaf or in between the nodes, it is present. These cells or these meristems are called as intercalary meristem. The meristems which are present at the base of the leaf or between the nodes is called as intercalary meristems. What is the function of this meristem? It helps in giving rise to new leaves, buds, etc. And it helps to increase the distance between the nodes. Clear? Next one, lateral meristem. Lateral meristem is seen laterally in the stem. They are actually secondary meristems. Initially, when the plant is growing, these cells, meristems will not have much function. When the plants grow older, this is usually found in the cambium. Lateral meristems are seen in the cambium. That is in the vascular bundle. Xylem, phloem, you have learned in the previous class. So this meristem, lateral meristem, is seen in the cambium. The function of the lateral meristem is to give rise to new xylem cells and phloem cells. So in the vascular tissue, conducting tissue or transporting tissue, it is present in the bundle. So this lateral meristem will give rise to new xylem cells and phloem cells. What is the function of that? It helps in the girth of the tree, thickness of the tree, girth. It helps in the girth. This may be a new term, G-I-R-T-H, girth of the plant. I repeat once again. The first plant tissue which we are discussing now is meristematic tissue. Are meristematic tissue present throughout the plant body? No. They are present only in certain parts of the plant body, certain places in the plant body. Based on the location, meristems or meristematic tissue is of three types. Apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Meristems which are present or the meristematic tissue which is present in the shoot tip and at the root tip are called as apical meristems. The function of this apical meristem is to divide and increase the height of the plant. Intercalary meristems are present at the base of the leaf and with the internodes. This intercalary meristem will help to give rise to new set of leaves, buds, etc. and also help to increase the internode. That is the place between two nodes. Increase the length of the stem. Lateral meristem is seen laterally inside the stem, that is in the cambium. They divide when the plants grow older and help to increase the girth of the tree, thickness of the tree. Since they are actively dividing cells, they have thick cytoplasm, a prominent nucleus like any other cell. You have learned the structure of the cell already. Like any other cell, they have a thick cytoplasm, a prominent nucleus, and they have thin cell wall. They do not have vacuoles. Their main function is to continuously divide and produce new cells. As and when new cells are formed, older cells will be pushed downwards. So older cells will lose the capacity or the ability to divide. They get differentiated and they form permanent tissues. Hope this topic is clear to you. Next, we'll discuss about permanent tissues. What are permanent tissues? Once the meristematic cells lose their ability to divide or stop dividing, we call them as permanent tissues. What are the two types of permanent tissues? Yes, simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Now we'll discuss the first simple permanent tissue. That is, we'll discuss all the three together. That will be better. We will be able to understand clearly. That is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. These are the three types of simple permanent tissues. Parenchyma cells are thin-walled cells. They are thin-walled cells. You can see. They are thin-walled cells. I will just compare and tell so it's easy for you to understand. Collenchyma are cells with, I will draw another shape so the structure will be clear to you. Okay. Here the corners are thickened. Here in this collenchyma cells, just draw one. Here the corners are thickened. Corner thickening is present. So we have a diagram, but anyway the difference between these cells will be clear to you. All the corners of the cells are thickened. I have drawn only few cells. Corners are thickened. Whereas sclerenchyma cells, all the sides are thickened. I will draw the same shape. When you draw in your notebook also that you have to draw in the same way. That is why I am drawing and explaining. So you know how to draw it. All the cells should be drawn double line and then you have to shade this. This is the thick cell wall. All the sides are thickened. I have thickened only two cells because it's time consuming. Okay. So first main difference. Parenchyma cells, all these are simple permanent tissues. From this you can understand all the cells are similar. Here all the cells are similar. Here all the cells are similar. I have drawn only few cells, but when you draw in the notebook, draw at least 2 to 3 rows of cells and 2 to 3 cells in each row. After drawing, you may keep a scale and rub all the 4 sides, so it will be a neat piece of cells tissue. Clear? So parenchyma, first difference. Parenchyma cells are thin-walled cells. Collenchyma, corners are thickened. Sclerenchyma, the whole side, all the sides are thickened. They have thick cell wall. Second point. Parenchyma cells are living cells. They are living cells. Collenchyma are also living cells. Sclerenchyma, they are made up of dead cells. They don't have life. They are usually dead cells. Next, third difference. Parenchyma cells are loosely packed. Clear? There may be intercellular space. What I am shading here are intercellular space. Yellow color what I am shading is intercellular space, space between the cells. There may be The cells there are loosely packed, so there is intercellular space between the cells. Here there may be little intercellular space or sometimes there may not be. Here there is no intercellular space, it's tightly packed. Third difference. Parenchyma cells have a prominent vacuole. They have nucleus. They have a prominent nucleus and cytoplasm. Okay, they have a vacuole, nucleus and cytoplasm. Here also they are living cells, so they will also have a vacuole, a nucleus and cytoplasm. Here I have drawn only one cell. You have to draw in all the cells. I have finished only one cell here. Since they are dead, sclerenchyma is made up of dead cells, they don't have protoplasm. What is protoplasm? Recall, quick. Yes, cytoplasm and nucleus together is called as protoplasm. Clear? So the fourth one. Once again I repeat, parenchyma is made up of thin-walled cells. Collenchyma is made up of cells where the corners are thickened. Cell wall corners are thickened. Sclerenchyma is made up of thick cell wall. All the sides are thickened. Parenchyma cells are living cells. Collenchyma is also made up of living cells. Sclerenchyma tissue is made up of dead cells. Third, parenchyma cells are loosely packed with intercellular spaces. Collenchyma cells, there may be intercellular space or there may not be. Sclerenchyma, there is no intercellular space, they are tightly packed. Fourth, parenchyma cells, they have a prominent nucleus, vacuole and cytoplasm. Collenchyma also has the same thing because they are living cells. They also have prominent nucleus, cytoplasm and vacuole. And sclerenchyma, they don't have all these because they are dead cells. They have empty lumen. Their lumen is empty. They are dead cells, so they have an empty lumen. The inner empty space called as the lumen. Empty lumen. Clear? Next. Now I will tell about parenchyma functions. The functions of all the three. Parenchyma cells may have chlorophyll pigment in them. If they have chlorophyll pigment, their function will be, yes, photosynthesis. They prepare food for the plants. Some of the parenchyma cells may have chlorophyll pigments. In that case, the function will be to synthesize food. So they synthesize and store food in them. In some plants, for example, aquatic plants, parenchyma cells may have large air cavities. Once again, some of the parenchyma cells may have chlorophyll in them and their function will be to synthesize food. If parenchyma cells are having chlorophyll pigments in them, we call them as chlorenchyma. What is chlorenchyma? Parenchyma cells having, yes, chlorophyll pigments are called as chlorenchyma. The function is to synthesize food. Parenchyma cells in aquatic plants may have big air cavities. Can you guess why? Yes, to maintain buoyancy in water, floating ability in water. Clear? So these air cavities. So parenchyma cells having air cavities is called as aerenchyma. Understood? What is chlorenchyma and aerenchyma? Parenchyma cells having chlorophyll pigment in them is called as chlorenchyma. The function of chlorenchyma cells is to synthesize food. What is function of aerenchyma? Aerenchyma cells are parenchymatous cells having air cavities. The function is to maintain buoyancy in water. Understood? Here, colon-chyma. Colon-chyma tissues, I told you, they have corner thickening. Corners are thickened. This corner thickening will give elasticity to the plant. Usually they are seen in stem where bending is required, near the branches. So, wherever bending is required, which type of tissue is present? Colon-chyma tissue. So, what is the function of colon-chyma tissue? It gives elasticity to the plant cells and it helps in bending. Sclerenchyma cells, they are dead cells. Their cell walls are thickened and so they give support to the plant. They are seen around the veins, around the transporting tissues, etc. The main function is supportive in function. So with that, I am winding up today's session. So today we have discussed about different types of outline classification of plant tissues. Then we discussed about meristematic tissues. The different types of meristematic tissues based on their location. That is apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Then we discussed about the simple permanent tissues. That is parenchyma, colon-chyma and sclerenchyma. We discussed about, by comparing the three tissues, we discussed all the differences between the three tissues. At the same time, you would also have understood about each tissue separately. Usually, the questions will be asked for comparing the different types of simple permanent tissues. It can be like parenchyma and colon-chyma, or colon-chyma and sclerenchyma, or all the three, differentiate all the three types of simple permanent tissues. Or it may be like write the functions of each type of these tissues. Hope the structure and the functions are clear to you. Please read the textbook. Take down the notes when you listen to the class. Draw the diagram of each type of tissues and write the differences between each. So next class when you come, please see that you are thorough with the previous topics which I have covered. Hope you will do so. Thank you.